Tonight, family and friends are mourning the loss of an MPD officer who was killed early this morning in a crash. Family members tell Fox 13 Officer C.J. Jones was a father, and they are devastated tonight. Now, we're told he had been on the force for almost 2 years.
Well, another person also died in this crash. We're still waiting on police to positively identify that victim. Now, this crash actually happened near the intersection of Shelby Drive and Pleasant Hill Drive on the south side of Memphis. Fox 13's Dominique Dillon is joining us live tonight. Dominique, a lot of people are now sharing their feelings about Officer Jones' death.
Yeah, Darcy, from city leaders and the police chief to friends and family, many of these people took to social media to speak out and offer their condolences to Jones' family.
Ooh, in your face, Trey.
He was very funny, very competitive, just a down-to-earth person that you'll want to be around.
Following the death of Memphis police officer Correal C.J. Jones, many are sharing fond memories.
A lot of people don't have that skill to be able to connect people and make people feel comfortable.
But that's one of the qualities longtime friend Christian Hines says he will miss about Jones. Hines says not only was Jones a man who never met a stranger, but he was a man who served others.
He's one of those people that will want to do for people.
Jones was one of 2 people who died in a crash at Shelby Drive and Pleasant Hill in Capelville early Thursday morning.
This is just a reminder of the risks that our officers take every day as they do their work, and we sincerely hope that in the days to come we can find peace and comfort for the family.
A father, friend, and officer who will be greatly missed by many.
We just got to keep pushing forward and just think of what CJ would want for us to be doing, you know, even though he's not here.
And we have learned the name of the other victim, but will not release that information until police do. Reporting live in Capelville, Dominique Dillon, Fox 13 News.
Thank you so much, Dominique. Now, we also had a chance to talk with family members of Officer Jones. They told us at this point they're really just too upset to talk right now. But they do say that his death is certainly being felt across the police community. A Fox 13 viewer sent us this video of an impromptu sea of blue. We're told the video was shot around 5:50 this morning. The convoy turned off of DUNLAP on the POPLAR, then turned into Regional 1 Forensic Center. We actually counted 9 police cars.
Now, this is the 4th Memphis officer killed in a crash in less than a year. The most recent was last October. Officer Daryl Adams was killed in a car accident at I-40 near North Watkins. The MPD tells us Adams was on duty investigating a car accident when he was hit by an 18-wheeler. In May, motor officer Scotty TRIPLETT was killed during a police escort on Hickory Hill Road. A motorist turning in front of him during that escort caused his motorcycle to crash into that car. In March of last year, Officer Nicholas Blow was killed by an alleged drunk driver as he was leaving his shift at the Rains precinct. We'll continue to follow this tragic story with the latest developments both on air and online.